Hey everyone, how you doing? Thanks very much for popping by. I heard a funny story this morning. A friend's her little son. He was in a state early this morning because he'd lost his toys. So he said to his mum, "Mum, can we call up God to ask where my toys are?" And she said, well, why do you want to ask God where your toys are?" And he said, "Well, he's up in the sky and he has the best view." Logical, isn't it? I was just thinking of how a kid sees God. Well, how I saw God as a kid. I did see him as this big seeing eye, which wasn't particularly bad in itself. But it was so hard going through the abuse that I was going through at the time, and knowing that he saw it, knew that he could see it if he wanted to see it. And I couldn't understand why it all still went on. I mean, there's a lot of when you're a kid and these things start very young, it's just normal. You don't actually realize until a later stage that, oh, hang on, oh, so and so's dad doesn't do that, and their home is all different. The atmosphere is entirely different when you go in, and yeah, then you realize it's not normal, so you have to rationalize it. And we were told that we were punished. This is me and my sibling. We were punished because we were so bad. I mean, we were just very, very bad children, and that we had to be disciplined in that way. So I know I accepted that, I internalized that for a long time, that I was bad. This was being done for my own good. I mean, if I were good, he wouldn't have to act like that, you know. So kind of internalized that. And I think with us calling God the Father, if you're in this Judeo-Christian upbringing, and then the example of the Father that you have yourself is like, woohoo, this big indiscriminately punishing, violent, illogical, strange creature. That's what fathers do. Okay, and God is like a father. Okay, so it gets very complicated as a child. Can be really hard to understand. So okay, so other children could have peaceful lives, known as a perfect life, but away from that 24/7 danger. And it was very dangerous. It was life-threatening. Seeing it, and God can do things and move, do anything He wants. He can part the Red Sea, but there came a time, I don't know, it kind of slipped in that, well, why does God love everyone else and He doesn't love me? Because God the Father was supposed to give everything and be open-handed, and they'd say if you was bad parents know what to give your children, then surely God the Father knows. And so I suppose that gradually came. It was a later stage of trying to make it logical. So yeah, why didn't God love me? Because if God loved me, He'd protect me, wouldn't He? Of course He would. I've protected other people from physical harm, even if it's meant harm myself. I have this, this desire, urge to protect. It's my maternal bits probably as well. But so where was God in all this? Where was God while it was happening? So not only is one dealing with, and for me, lifelong physical harm, lifelong mental harm, emotional harm, has been healing. We've been trying to see to my brain problems as a result, but it's not working well. I've worked very hard on that. So why didn't God love me enough? Because he says he loves people. Look at the lovely world. Look at all the beautiful things in the world. There's lots of horrible things as well. Why didn't he love me? So no one knows when they're hurting a child in the many ways that you can abuse and hurt a child. The layers and levels of damage can be so much, and the level of the damage upon one's spirituality it can just turn everything inside out, and even more so for anyone who's abused by someone who within their religion has got some standing. So if it is a priest or a vicar or a monk or a nun, any clergy, that the assault on one's spirituality can be immense. My father was regarded as a pillar of the church. We we were brought up Catholics. I soon plugged into the hypocrisy. The church wasn't for me, not the hypocrisy that I saw. And that's another thing when you see the hypocrisy of it all, the two sides, the public side, the private side, it's going to turn you away from that spiritual world. Now, if you're an atheist, perhaps you may say, well, that's a good thing, but hey, you got released. But it depends. We're all built differently with different needs and different reasonings. So I didn't become atheist. I just felt like this person that was separate. And I knew other people, and other people had suffered as children, and knew that because they would share with me these terrible things. And yeah, I guess when they said things, I would never think of them as being naughty or deserving or causing the problem, initiating the problem. No, I always saw them as being wrongly and badly treated. But I didn't see that for myself. I couldn't extend that kindness to myself. I was trained elsewhere. And so I did go through, in adult life, went through quite a period of, because I still believe things, I was just shaking my fist at the sky. I was like starting a fight, you can never win. Oh, I just was, no, I was angry at God, and I was in so much pain. I mean, and that's physical as well as the emotional and mental pain. I mean, real agony. It's a hard place to be. But why wasn't I loved? Why didn't I deserve? And I used to, as a kid, I pray so fervently. I know. It's very strange, isn't it? So for me, I did regrow spiritually. Now, I've not gone on about my beliefs here because we're all in situations, or if we're here, a lot of us will know what it's like to, have beliefs foisted upon you, someone lecturing you about a belief, or this. I don't want to do that here. I do Greek to the Greek, Romans to the Romans, etc. I'm not here to say that I'm right, that you're wrong, that I'm wrong and you're right. I go by for me, it's very, very hard won experience. It's very tangible, um, my spiritual path. So I went from this raging, raging, and then I did experience spiritual unconditional love. I had no idea what unconditional love was. I was like, I'm thinking, where's the trick? Where's the trick? You can't turn your back on it. And it was the non-judging. It was incredible, and there was this patience. Didn't matter if I railed, if I made a fool of myself in my railing, grumpy and ungrateful and all the things. It was just patience. It was just patience, and he wasn't condescending. It was a bit like, and if you see a child, that's like my sense back. It was a bit like, as if I was a child. Remember, you get Asian throw tantrums. Well, I didn't, but don't do things like that. But throwing a tantrum, and you know, and good parent, leave leave her to it. She'll get very tired very soon. Yeah. And it was like that. It was just leave me to it. There was no right or wrong. It was just like I had to get that out my system, and there were things being done to help. And I was like, I didn't trust it. And of course, I knew the right way. Excuse me. Where were you? Where were you? You're telling me it's got to be done this way. And I go, okay, So it was a very strange experience, and it tied up. Things joined up on a spiritual level. The whys, the wherefores, it has connected. It's still always on a learning curve. And I do hope I keep learning. Always. Sometimes I stall a bit, obviously. Other times I have a little quick run, a little spurt, then it's oops, stalled again. Um, so I've been able to recover. But that's my way. It doesn't mean that would work for anyone else at all. I can only say that things can work, and it's possible. Possible. But a lot of people won't want that, and that's fair enough. Nothing wrong with that. But it's possible. I don't think other people take as long to learn as I do. I'm a very slow learner. But these things still happened, and I'm still living with the damage 24 hours a day. And as those of you with various things will know, that not even any peace in your sleep. And waking up with absolute pains in your mouth because you've been grinding your teeth at night. I've been through periods of moaning and whimpering, in my sleep, but like really fearful child noises. My sibling has apparently done that as well. So it has to be worked out, and I've had my way of working it out. It has benefited me. Um, Still a long way to go. I'm keeping at it. I getting on in years, and I think, yeah, my life was pretty scuppered at the beginning. I've kept trying for it to be unscuppered, but many of us will know that when this does happen to you, or any sort of abuse, injustice, that there is this potential reaction. Sometimes you can't do it, but there's often this potential reaction to go, I'm not letting this happen to anyone else. And with a number of things that have happened to me, I thought, do you know what? Now it's turned around. You see, I think I can bear that it's just me. That would be fine. I can't bear to think of other people having suffered like this, currently suffering like that, and future suffering like that. And of course, that really includes children. No, cannot bear that it still goes on. Don't want other people to grow like me. So everything I have as a working class disabled woman, if you want to put me in categories, everything that I have has been fought for by other people who knew and understood the injustices. So the right to an education, people had to fight for that. That you weren't working 12, 16, 18 hours a day as a child in horrible conditions. And I know that children around the world are still working like that. Terrible conditions. So it does still go on. And there's some people that are very focused on that, and they feel, that's where they can see that injustice, and they work hard. I think we find our areas that we go, no, no, our hearts lead us to certain areas, and it can often be through experience. We go, no, I'm not having anyone else suffer like that. I'm not doing it. And then when we've survived something that's not good, and we say, this is how it felt, it's a whole potential education for society around us, individuals. It's incredibly important. So there can be knock-on benefits of our suffering for others. And when I was saying about the things I've benefited from, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to own a house. I mean, it's just because I'm a woman, and all the dear, things like that. It's just so many things. Or work. Once you're a married woman, you had, in some places. I mean, let's just have a career, dude. There's just so many things, and all those rights were fought for, and very often by people who personally experienced it and felt the pain of that, wanted something better. So pain can close us, can get us bitter and tight, or pain can open us. So I've learned a lot, but still got a lot of figuring out to do. But the spiritual aspect has been pretty mind blowing, and I did learn the exact words were. These weren't my words. I was fed up to heck when I heard it. I was grumpy, grump, grump, grump. I was told that my burden was my gift. I was like, what? What? What's a flipping lousy gift? Expect to open a box and something nice. What? What? This heavy, heavy burden. Well, that I thought was heavy. And that's. Then I realised, and I still have to keep coming back to that. It's hard. I lose sight of it, and my burden is just my burden again. But no, there are lots of gifts in there, and you may say, well, hang on, no, that's impossible. And it doesn't have to be gifts for everyone, and I'm not saying this is everyone's path or everyone's voyage of discovery. And then, me say, but what about, and this that person, I know, believe me, from my heart and from every cell in my body, I know what the cost can be, a lot of what the cost be. I don't know everything about everyone's cost, but oh man, some would say it's destroyed my life. And there have been so many things that are destroyed. Finding diamonds in mud is quite amazing. Diamonds on the ring of a rich person amongst loads of other rings and glitter and all the rest. You don't notice it. Just a diamond, isn't it? You're in the mud. When you see a diamond, oh, wow. And someone else might just see something that's a bit hard, a bit mucky and dirty. No, you know what it is. You know. And the contrast between the diamond and the mud is amazing. And you clasp it and appreciate it. Says she wouldn't know what a diamond was if it came in bitter on the bum. So, what was I rambling on about? For goodness sake. The all-seeing God. And what if that's true? Or God, your goddess, or your panoply of gods, depending. I say I know there's so many belief systems you could have gone to, but it's like where were they? Where were they? Gosh, I remember the pain of being in that situation was awful. And I feel for anyone who's been going through some of the stages I've gone through. That pain is horrible. Why not me? And that was actually, it was another turnaround for me. When something bad happens to you, it's like a lot of people will say, "Well, why me?" It's a fair enough question. Someone who's really nasty down the road, who's done some awful things and gone to prison and been very naughty, they're doing fine, and say your house burns down or something like that. And you're like, why me? Excuse me, why me? I'm living the best life I can, and I turn it around and it's like, well, why not me? And it depends on how one sees these awful events. Are they catastrophes? Are they bolts out of the sky from a careless God? Are they accidents? What are they? Why not me? Why not me? And that doesn't mean, punishment, because I don't see those things as punishment. It seems hard sometimes. It's not about, why not me because I deserve punishment. It's not in that sense. This probably won't make a lot of sense to a lot of people. But maybe there'll be one person that will go, oh, or maybe it will ease things or help. Because in all the ways that abuse can hurt, bruise, damage, destroy, totally eradicate spirituality. And I say that can be absolutely fine for people, that's the chosen path. So hey, that's fine. It's got, but for others it may hurt a lot. And sometimes there are other ways. And yours may be very different from mine. That's why I'm not being prescriptive. I'm just being descriptive of this journey. And thank you, everyone, that all you share what your journeys have been. It's it's humbling to hear. And you look up to a lot of you that say these things and say where they are. Yeah, I really look up to you. So thank you. Honestly, thank you. If anyone's got this far, gosh. It's like a cure for insomnia, isn't it? No, if you've got this far, honestly, thank you. Yeah, from my heart. Thank you. Well, I tell you what, Jen, the cat's asleep beside me, so it is a cure for insomnia. She was snoring earlier while I was talking, you may hear. Okay, just wishing you peace and love. Bye for now.